Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Carolyn and this channel is dedicated to the simple abundance principles from Sarah Ban Beathnach's book, Simple Abundance. Joy, harmony, beauty, order, simplicity, and gratitude. Two fair warnings on this video. First off, I can already tell right now we have a frisky kitty in the background, but that's par for the course on my channel. If you're just finding me, I hope you'll consider subscribing and following along with us on this 365-day journey to a more balanced and joyful life with Sarah's principles. We are mainly following her 2019 edition of the book, and I sometimes pull from her older edition, the Daybook of Comfort and Joy, written 26 years ago now. So it's May 2020 and we are getting into the art of home caring. We've been talking about home a lot, and I only said the one fair warning statement. The second fair warning statement is that, not unlike my video with black velvet in it from a while back when I said you would probably think I'm nuts, you may well think I'm nuts at the end of this video as well, by the time I go through this whole system of organization and order that I have for home caring in my house. But maybe you'll take something from it, and maybe you'll find your own way to do something on a smaller scale, but with the same idea in mind. So, what is home caring? We know what housekeeping is, right? But we've already talked in a couple of these entries related to the home that taking care of our home and giving it love by rearranging it and figuring out what elements bring us comfort and that lived-in feeling too, all of that goes into this home love and home caring that she calls it. So I'm combining a couple of days because they're all sort of related, and then I'm going to get into my little binder that I have for home caring. So she calls home caring the sacred soul craft of home caring. And the main message is that instead of looking at housekeeping, if you will, as a chore, think of this as home love. Like, even if you're just dusting a particular piece of furniture or something, you're giving it that love, right? Or you're moving things around, like we talked a little bit about feng shui earlier this month, and you're giving it a little bit of love, and maybe you're dusting at the same time, right? Let's see. Now, what used to be called homemaking is referred to as adulting. Yeah, that's in this new updated version. That's for sure a term that we hear a lot. She says, this tickles me because every day there are plenty of adult chores that need to be done around my house, and I'm the only adult in this apartment. Meals need to be made, laundry washed, garbage put out, cat litter changed, and dishes cleaned. She says this is drudgery in some respects, but she doesn't want it to, and she doesn't necessarily want to be the one doing it, okay? That's actually something I should say too, as we're talking about all this home caring. If you truly hate everything that goes along with keeping order in your house and cleaning it, the ultimate self-care thing would be to get a housekeeper. Even if it's just a maid service that comes in once a month and does the real heavy stuff, you know? There are a lot of companies out there that can do that. So Sarah says to us, I'm not going to read the rest of her complaining set of, well, she does go into the fact that it can be expensive to hire cleaners, but, you know, if that's what you do, maybe that's something, it's like you absolutely know that you hate it and you're not going to do it. And having a clean house brings you joy, but you want nothing to do with it. Well, then hire someone if you can, right? Or barter with someone, or trade with a friend or something. If you have something that you can offer them and they don't necessarily hate house cleaning, but you have a service or goods that they can benefit from, Think about creative ways you can do it. She tells us, the time has come for us to look deeply within. Reconsider how caring for our homes can be an expression of our authenticity. We may not necessarily know how to bleach linen, make cowslip wine, or bottle gooseberries, but it's not too late for us to rediscover the sacred soul craft of home caring. Let's start by what we call taking care of ourselves and our homes. Change a chore into a task. Creating a comfortable, beautiful, well-run home can be among our most satisfying accomplishments as well as an illuminating spiritual experience. I can't promise you that overnight we can change adulting into child's play, but like sweat equity, channeling your time and creative energy closer to home will produce a big emotional return for you and those you love. That is from the May 14th entry in the new book. And I was going to ask you guys too about some of the ways that you might make these chores or tasks or the home caring experience a little bit more fun. It might be putting on a podcast in the background that you love to listen to, or YouTube channel, or wonderful music that you can dance to or that just soothes you or something. I know for me, like, you can kind of see I have an open concept layout here, and I love the fact that, like, right behind me over here is my kitchen, so I can be doing the dishes and I can see my television and I can see outside to the birds. And so I really like that, because I have felt in other places that I've lived that the kitchen has been so separate, although now with portable devices you can still bring in like your Kindle and watch something or have it on so that you can hear it in the background while you're doing dishes. Actually, I used to do that in one of the houses I lived in. I had a window right above my sink, and so I would bring the Kindle in and put it right on the windowsill and just have like The Bachelor or something in the background. Well, it was like my little like guilty pleasure going on with something that the dishes are the things that I probably hate more than anything else. Excuse me. Okay. So then now we're getting into May 15th and 16th is really getting into the order principle. So I mentioned all the principles, and order is one of them. And so one of them is, so one's called Getting Your House in Order, and then the 16th is called A Place for Everything, Preserving Your Sanity with a Personal Plan. So I thought this was the perfect tie-in for me to share with you my home caring binder. Let me just see if before I go into that, if there's anything to share here. She does explore, I remember in this entry, about the shakers. Remember when we talked about simplicity as a principle at the very beginning when it was introduced? There's the Quakers and the Shakers, and they are very much about simplicity. They have a lot of order going on in their lifestyle. And she brings prayer and housekeeping together too, and says that they've always gone together. And encourages us also, not unlike the entry we talked about where it was like, what was it? Enjoying your everyday Eden or something like that. I forget the one that from that video, where we were talking about how your house can be lived in a wonderful way, that it's still your own paradise, even if everything is not in its perfect place. So she has kind of this, I can tell, like, balancing act. I was gonna say love hate, but I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's like a balancing act between having this order but allowing a bit of grace for the life that you're living, right? So that there's a place for things, but that but it works around your lifestyle, I guess is another way to say it. So A Place for Everything. That is yesterday's entry, May 16th. She encourages us to do what actually I will share in my binder. Really map out on paper the things that you're going to do and what you need to do, and have a plan, okay? First, figure out what your standard of ideal housekeeping home caring is. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same as your mother's. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you are walking through your front door. In an ideal vision, what does the room look like? Your personal standard of ideal home caring is the minimum you can live with and still feel content. So it's that balancing act, right? Determine your livability quotient. It's the first step towards devising a personal plan that will work for you. Next, you need to figure out what needs to be done, who can do it, and when. The simplest way is to break your tasks into categories: daily duties, weekly chores, monthly jobs, and seasonal tasks. That's exactly what I've done in my binder. This is also a nod to FlyLady, who I've mentioned a couple times in other videos. And I didn't go back before hitting the record button here to revisit exactly how FlyLady recommends you put your control journal together, but that is very similar to what this binder is. I kind of consider it that, but I call it my home caring binder because it's more based on reading this book so many times. And I like the idea. I love task lists because I'm a very like type A, like doer. So it speaks to me, but you might not like this much order. Anyway, that's why I said you might think I'm nuts by the end of this. Okay. To jumpstart the bringing of order into your home, here are 4 old-fashioned rules that can change your quality of life beginning today. Repeat this recipe for contentment out loud every morning and every evening for 21 days. Let it become your personal mantra to maintain serenity. Write these instructions on index cards and post one in every room of your home. Teach these words of wisdom to your children. Whisper them into your partner's ear. So what are they? If you take it out, put it back. If you open it, close it. If you throw it down, pick it up. If you take it off, hang it up. I don't know if I'm going to put those rules around for myself. I sort of feel like I told you guys about my room in my house that I'm like as messy as I want in, and nobody ever sees it except for me. But then I keep the rest of my house presentable, and if anybody came over, then they'd never even know that I have that messy area. I sort of feel like I'm like that. I get messy, and then I take a day and clean it up. So I'm not super... I can't say that I have my dishes done every night, like FlyLady suggests, but I also don't live in filth, so I feel like I have a good balance, and I feel like I never let it get messy enough that it takes days upon days to clean it. So today's entry is called the Tao of Home Caring. So you've heard of the word Tao. That's T-H-O. It's Last Lu. You know, he's the Chinese sage. He wrote the Tao Te Ching, right? Yes. And so she's bringing in the practice of the Tao to the home caring. How can the enigmatic advice of the ancient Chinese Tao help us to get our homes in order? She asks. If your souls are so preoccupied with undoing, how does anything ever get done? Inexplicitly, it gets done by pausing, by reflecting on the way in which our life proceeds day in and day out. What works, what doesn't? As we pause to reflect before doing, we come to an awareness of how the nature of all things, even the minute of the domestic sphere, contribute to the harmony of the whole. That's another one of the principles, harmony, right? So how do we tie this in? I'm thinking about, like, say you set a rule for yourself and everybody in your house that when they come in the front door, they have to go to their room and put their shoes and jacket in there or something. That really may be unrealistic. Maybe you come up instead with a way, if they're used to just throwing their stuff right in the entryway, maybe you get a coat rack or cubbies for your shoes or something like that, so that it's a balance of what works for everybody, because if they're used to taking it off right there, then the act of one small little extension of them taking that 1 second instead of going to their rooms and everything, you know, that might not be realistic. So she's encouraging us to look at how we live our lives and what is going to make sense, instead of making something so super hard that just feels so abnormal and foreign for everybody, even after time when they're trying to, when you're like, don't put your backpack on the table or whatever. I mean, I don't have kids in the house, so I can't even imagine just trying to fight those battles every day. But she's encouraging us to look at our lives and to try to make things easier, okay? That's another principle, the simplicity, right? Today, try to glimpse everything you do in your home, no matter how insignificant it may seem, as part of your authentic path to wholeness, and it shall become so. That's a pretty cool thought to think about, how caring for our homes can bring us closer to wholeness. Our homes are an extension of us, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to show you, this is my binder. It says home on the side. And I've only shown you guys really a couple things. Like, you know about my planner and you know about my journal. I haven't even shown you, I have binders for other things and notebooks. Like, this is my financial binder. That's how I sort of like compartmentalize my life. But so this is my home one, okay? I don't go so far as what Sarah had told us a while back in another entry about having like measurements of the rooms and paint swatches and stuff like that. I do have actually like a little notebook for if I use certain paint colors or things like that. I do keep those in another spot. But so I took a picture of my front door and wrote the word home caring on it as the little thing. And then I made on the side here, you can see, they're probably so small you won't be able to see them all, but I made little tabs. Like, one of them is actually Jack and Gus from Cinderella, the little mice that help with the cleaning and stuff. So, and then I have a little tab for Annabelle, and it's a little calico sticker kitty. So in the front section, I made a photocopy of the things from my journal that I had written down. I do this every year, so actually this is a copy from last year, but most of it is the same as my current list. But areas or zones to clean and organize, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, twice per year, and quarterly. So just like Sarah just said in one of those entries, you need to figure out what you need. Like, you don't need to change your filter in your furnace every week, right? So when do you need to do that? Like, so I'm looking at like the twice a year are like flip my mattress over in my bedroom, tighten the counter stools, like I'm sitting on these stools and every so often I have to just tighten up the bottom parts of them. And then you haven't seen, but Annabelle has she has a closet with a little cat door on it, and that's where her litter box is and supplies and stuff like that. So twice a year I just do like a super deep clean out of it, and I change I have like I don't even know, it's like a cat grade mat in there, and I just replace it. And so those are some things that would be twice a year. Like monthly would be like, I have to tell you, I do not dust and polish every week. I have that as a monthly task. And clean out the fridge and toss things. Again, you might want to do that on a weekly basis. And so I have trash cans around. Like in my 2 bathrooms, I have little trash cans, and they don't get much stuff put in there. So that happens to be a monthly task, clean out the small trash cans. Things that are weekly are things like bringing the trash and recycling out, laundry, dishes, cleaning off my desk, cleaning the kitchen sink very deeply, scooping litter boxes, and sweeping the hallway. So I sat down just first of all and just wrote that down on a piece of paper. Then I have a note here of any pending household things. Like these are long-term things, like, let's see. Oh, like in my office, put decorative paper over my file cabinet and maybe make a vision board on that. Okay, so like that's not urgent and it's just something I want to do. I also have replaced a step stool. My step stool is one that I've had for years. I mean, we're talking like 20 years. And it has paint from every place I've ever lived because I like to paint a lot. And I just need to get a nice step stool that doesn't have paint all over it. You know, I hide it in a closet right now, but so those are just things that are pending. And then I went room by room of things that I either wanted to change or, like in my master bathroom, I need a better place to store toilet paper. My other bathroom, I have a little basket and it's good, but so just things like solutions that I want to have in each room. And if I want to get actually I've already done this one and I didn't give it a check mark, but I did want to get a new picture for my bedroom in one spot and I had already done that. Okay, so under the Jack and Gus thing, and I haven't even, it's already like middle of May and I haven't checked it all. I'll just pull it out actually so you can see the page. Again, this is super type A. You might not like this, but once I sat down and did those things, then I made myself a little checklist. So can you see how it's got the weeks each week, and then I have the monthly things on the bottom, and then I have zones and areas, and then notes, okay? Haven't even checked anything off yet, but even if I just know that these are the things that I have to do, like a lot of things are every week, so I like giving myself a check mark just because I'm a task list person. The next section is for my garden. It's just for ideas, and then I like to usually keep the little tabs of any of the plants that I bought so that I remember if, like, because this year I got a couple of herbs and I just wanted to keep the information about the sunlight and watering and spacing and stuff like that. I do have a section that has a little dollar sign, and it's the thing is green too. Even though I have my own separate little financial piece journal or notebook, if you will, now, I still have things like, this is where I will keep shopping list ideas. You know, I am going to do a video, I think it's later in the year, when we start to talk about budgeting and organizing the finances, because I'm seeing some notes in here about, I'm not going to go into huge detail, but a while back when I was really trying to figure out my budget, I started keeping track of, like, putting the dates on things when I bought them, like for instance like laundry detergent and stuff like that, to actually see how long it lasted me and then what the average cost was, and if I could find better places to buy them over the other. So that's not related to the home caring specifically, but it's more of a money thing, but that's in here. I don't reference that as much because I have my ongoing binder. Then I have Annabelle's section, so anything related to her. And then I have a smiley section with just some ideas of things for the future in the house. Actually, there's one thing in here too, is holiday cards for friends and family too. Because I think that was, like, this seemed like the most appropriate place to keep that, you know, so that you remember who you've sent them to and who you received them from for various Christmases. So that's my home binder. Think I'm nuts? Hope you can get organized in some way. There is a real sense of peace that comes from even just sitting down and mapping it out. Whether you make a binder or have a checklist for yourself, just figuring out what you're gonna do. Because And I didn't even say this. I didn't even attribute the various things to certain days, but that's a FlyLady thing. Like every Monday, I'm gonna say the wrong things because she has certain days that she recommends certain things, but like, just for instance, every Monday is vacuum day, every Tuesday is dusting day, every Wednesday is laundry day, or whatever. So that way you're not trying to do it all at once. Although I will say I'm probably an all at once person because I'm working all week and then I'll try to do like a 4 to 5 hour process of getting everything done. That's just kind of how I operate. But I can appreciate the schedule of having things on certain days, especially if you're home and your main responsibility is the home and making everything function with the kids. And God love you if that's what you're doing. I haven't been in that experience. So, but I can really see in that case how the days of the week would be really, really great to have a schedule. So what do you think? You like the idea of the home caring versus housekeeping? I just even like to, I've gotten so used to calling it home caring now. I like it. And I like the fact that she ties it into authenticity and trying to make it reasonable for our lifestyles. And I like the order of it too. So I think it helps me to stay on task and to not let things get out of control. Let me know what you think. I hope you stay on as a subscriber and you're not like, this lady's crazy. That's what we're talking about here though, with all these principles, and I love sharing with you guys the things that I've come to over the years. Hope you enjoyed this talk. I hope that you think about all these things, you get something out of it, whether it's one little small tidbit, and I hope you run with it. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.